by Brother Angel Snub 7 at the Realities Temple. And to give props to him, because I listened to all of Angel Snub 7's videos, I think that he comes from a different angle, and there's a powerful message in a lot of the videos that he put out, and I try to catch all of them. I look at him as a free thinker and a person that's willing to challenge those of which he don't agree with or which he may think differently from, and I really respect him for that. He's challenged KNBS, and he has also challenged the black supremacy movement as well. And I have nothing against that, because that which cannot be challenged cannot stand and will not stand and will not survive the test of time. How many challenges we can withstand will determine how long we will be able to stand.
We're talking about not falling into the teacher trap, not falling into the website trap. So today, what teachers can you learn from? We just told you that the Akawu tells you that we're all the great teacher at the same time. So who are you going to learn from? You're going to learn from brothers like Sa-Neter. You're going to learn the positives and negatives from brothers like Sa-Neter. You're going to learn the positives and negatives of people like Brother Polite. The positives and negatives of people like Sarah Sutin Seti. You're going to learn from Maurice Muhammad, Taalik Ibn'rad. You're going to learn from Netterket. You're going to learn, you definitely going to learn from King Noble. You definitely going to learn a little something from Brother Daku. But we ain't the only teachers in the world. There are other people in your lives right now that are teaching you things that you need to know. Now, do you follow your teacher every single place and everywhere? Not necessarily. But if you got a good teacher, your teacher is going to teach you how to think, not what to think. And if you learn how to think, then you can be critical of all information. You can question anything. Your teachers ain't going to get mad. Huh? Your teacher, if he's truly your teacher, give me the question. Bring them on. If I can't answer the question, then I'm going to meditate on it, reflect on it, and try to get back with you with the answer, get back to you with the answer. But I'm also going to encourage you to think. It's important for you to think. You're not just my student, you're also my teacher. I'm not your teacher, I'm also your student. Don't fall into the teacher trap. This has been Daku Akabo Wakatu.
I'm not really worried about convincing you about what I believe in. My main concern is to find people with the like-minded minds, like Minister, the Realist temple, the Realities temple on earth. I can relate with that guy. I can say he's talking sense because he has intelligence. And he doesn't come up with rubbish. He comes up with well-thought conversations. He's thought about this. He's still thinking about it right now as we speak about it. And after that, he'll be thinking about it because he's a thinker. He's not just a doer taking information and repeating it. He's a thinker. He's been intrigued. His mind's been intrigued by reality, by things on earth that have woken him up. So enough respect to him. One of the greatest minds on YouTube who ain't got no establishment. I don't think. I don't know what he has or what he does, but the greatest minds sometimes don't have much, you know.
I do want to say something right now. There is a YouTuber who has really got in my heart, and that is Angel Snub 7. He reminds me a lot of my father. My father died last year of a heart attack, and Angel Snub 7 straightened me out. There have been times I had made a couple of videos really attacking Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton because I didn't like that we only seem to see them when a nationwide case occurs or when celebrities are in trouble. And I didn't like that. But Angel Snub 7 made a video recently speaking about how we need to band with black leaders. I don't care if they're not doing everything perfect. I don't care that we don't like certain things they do. They're the only support we have. Nobody else is stepping up and willing to be on the front lines like they are. And Angel Snuff 7 was correct, and I want to thank him for that, because he may not have been directed towards me, but he may have been. But I heard what he said, and I want to thank you for that, teacher. I appreciate that. We have to band with people. Even though I do critique and I do make comments about what's going on with the black gender war, I don't hate black men. Like I just mentioned, Angel Snuff 7 has gotten my heart. He's like my teacher, a mentor to me. I love him. And there are others that I love as well that I do listen to, and I do. Last Man Standing is another one. You know, he don't comment much, but I know he's watching. And there are others that I admire them, and those are ones you can work with. Those are ones that you can, we can unify with.
You know, I really don't talk about politics. I don't care nothing about the politics of this country. I work with, and we should work with, whatever they put out. In the meantime, whatever you do, you should be like those in the story of Moses. You should be seeking an exodus. Do not get comfortable. Seek an exodus. You might create a business that's worth $1 billion. Do not get comfortable in the house of your oppressor. Do not get comfortable in the house of the racist. You should have been a long time ago looking to get out of his house that he controls. Either you overthrow the government, which y'all don't have the heart to do. I made a video earlier that black men are not brave, so I know you're not going to try to do that. Even the thought of overthrowing the government, that scares you. You don't want nothing to do even with the thought, let alone actually try to overthrow the government. So we don't even want to talk about that. So you should be seeking not to segregate. You want to separate. You want to get away from these people. Period. If not yourself, get your children out of this situation. We are a done deal. So if we stay here, it don't make no difference. You don't want to keep having babies and have your babies live under the influence of these racists and their filthy and nasty society. Gender confused, a bunch of drunks, drug addicts, a bunch of liars and thieves. You don't want your children growing up in this environment. You know what it has done to you. Look how we are destroyed. Look how pathetic and pitiful human beings we've become. I don't care how pretty your car is. I don't care how pretty your house is. I don't care how successful you think, because success in this country is materialistic. You can be an idiot. You can be stupid. You can have low character. But as long as you have some material things, I guess people are supposed to I don't care. If you're an idiot, rich, you can be the president. If you're rich, whatever, don't mean a damn thing to me. I don't care about, I don't care nothing about your degree that you got from some school or none of this stuff that we claim to be valuable, because really it's not valuable. One thing for sure, you can't take none of it to the grave. So that tells you what kind of value it really has. But again, I was just thinking about the president of this nation. And you can help me on this, because I really don't watch the news a lot. And then I forget these people's names, because I really don't care nothing about them. But I'm going to use them to make a point. Now, we have Donald Trump, and he terminates his FBI director, this James Comey, or whatever his name is. And the FBI director says the reason why he was fired is because Donald Trump, the president, asked him to be loyal to him. Many of you would agree with the FBI director. Man, be loyal to Donald Trump. I understand exactly where you come. Who's going to be loyal to Donald Trump? Donald Trump is not saying be loyal to the United States of America. Donald Trump is not telling this man be loyal to the American people. Donald Trump is telling this man be loyal to me and my personal agenda, whatever that might be. Whatever I got going on, you got my back. And I give the FBI director his props because he said, hell no, I'm not going to do that. He said, hell no, and he was honest with the Donald. You know, no, man, I'm not going to be loyal to you. You're not asking me to be loyal to the United States, and you're not asking me to be loyal to the American people. Hell no, I ain't going for it. So Donald said, no problem. You fired. No problem. You're fired. No problem. You're fired. So, again, many of us, we would not feel, or we would probably do the same thing to the Donald. But at the same time, because you said that's being a dictator. Donald Trump is trying to be a dictator. And we don't like that word, dictatorship. But you're living in a so-called democracy. But the reality is you're under a dictatorship. Because you are living in a nation of laws, and those laws dictate your behaviors and what you should and should not do. When you join a religion, the laws dictate, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie. God is a dictator. Your mother and your father, they have the rules of the house. They dictate what goes on that house. Your mother and your father are dictators. But for some reason, we have a problem with dictators. But we are always under dictators. And Donald Trump says, be loyal to me. And you have a problem with that, but yet and still, you are loyal and you are patriotic to the United States. You are loyal to Jesus and the Christian church. You are loyal to Prophet Muhammad. You are loyal to whatever these things, whatever you allow to dictate to you, you are loyal to it. But for some reason, we got a problem. But please, let us not, Donald Trump can't dictate nothing to me. You are living in a dictatorship. Your mother and father were dictators. You could not do what you want to do. They told you when to go to bed, when to get up, when to go to school, eat your spinach. They dictate their law to you. Your religion does the same. The same thing goes for you on your job. Wherever you go, there's a dictatorship. You're not going to do it your way. And you are a dictator because when somebody comes in your house, when they come to your YouTube page, your Facebook page, you dictate. You run the house. And those who don't want to be loyal to you, you throw them out. You block them because you are a dictator. But for some reason, dictatorship, we look at it in a negative way, but that's what we are. We are dictators. You want to dictate to me and tell me I'm an African. You want to dictate to tell me I need to believe in God. And dictators have a routine, whereas if you don't do what they say, they will force you. And many of you have the same mentality. If it was up to you, you would make everybody Christian, love Jesus Christ. You would make the whole earth, the United States of America. If it's up to you, everybody be Muslims, everybody be Moors, Hebrew Israelites, ancient Egyptians, because you are a dictator. But you are the one that wants to be the dictator. You don't want Donald Trump or somebody you don't like. You don't want them to be the dictator. You want to run the show. You're a dictator yourself. And just like any dictator, you will use violence. If your children don't do what you tell them, dictate to the children, you will take off your belt, you will get a switch, and you will use violence against your children because you are a dictator. And that's what dictators do. Dictators use violence in order to get whoever is against them under their control, to make them do what you want them to do. Because if you didn't live under dictatorship, then you should be able to just simply say, would you do this? Would you do that? And the people will respond. But when you're a dictator, some people will be loyal to you and some people will rebel. And those people who rebel, then you dig a big hole in the ground. It's called mass graves or mass incarceration. Mass graves, mass incarceration, you will find these things in a dictatorship. If you don't find the mass graves, you will find mass incarceration when you are living under a dictatorship. Simple observation. And when in some cases, when the dictatorship goes to the extreme, you have incarceration and you have mass graves. But don't sit here and be self-righteous and whatever. And Fidel Castro is a dictator. Saddam Hussein was a dictator. Muammar Gaddafi was a dictator. When that's just the norm of how people live their lives all over this planet, is under a dictatorship. Democracy is just an illusion. It's not real. Everything that you're under is a dictatorship. Even in the animal kingdom, you will see a dictatorship. However, there is nothing wrong with a dictatorship in and of itself if you have the benefit of the people that's under you. In our case, these dictatorships that we live under is self-serving. They have personal agendas. That's the reason we rebel. That's the reason why we really have a problem with dictatorships, because they are oppressive. They are not just. They are not in the best interest of the people. They are self-serving. So really that's the problem, not being a dictator in and of itself. Because you can find people, if they are just, if they are fair, if they are kind and looking out for the best interests of the people, what's wrong with that? Just like your parents. They love you, but you was under a dictatorship. What is heaven? This is the question that we would like answered. Perhaps not tonight, today, this month, this year, but we want to try to figure out exactly what is heaven. Heaven is a place that we have been first taught in religious texts, speaking or making reference to Christian teachings or some form of Christian or spiritual type teachings. We are taught that heaven is opposite of hell. So what is hell? Hell is a place of damnation. Hell is a place where those who rebel against the will of God, once they die and they are judged and found guilty, their spiritual form will be sentenced to hell to suffer torment for eternity. So if heaven is opposite of hell, then heaven would be this place, whereas it is described in the same religious text, filled with milk and honey, and there's so much good things going on. You would never shed another tear. There is no sorrow. There is no anger. It's a perfect place, and you will live with God for eternity. You will live with the Father. Basic description of heaven and hell. However, for many, heaven and hell is just a condition of life. You have the idle rich who don't have to worry about the light bill. How are they going to pay sending their children to school, medical care, and all these different things? A life of leisure. So one would observe, or one would come to the conclusion that the life of the idle rich could be like that of heaven. While if you are poor and you don't know where your next meal is coming from, and you don't know what bill to pay because your paycheck can't cover all the bills necessary for that month, and you have no idea if your child will be able to go to school, to college, or not, and daycare costs you an arm and a leg, and you are in a constant motion of stress. One would say perhaps that this is a state of hell, a condition of life. Both are opposites of one another. One represents heaven and one represents hell. I would prefer it is more realistic to look at heaven, or in the Quran, those who are Muslims call the hereafter. It would be more logical, it would be more realistic to look at heaven and hell only as a condition of life. However, even when we look at heaven and hell as a condition of life, can we actually comprehend heaven? Could we, even from a spiritual sense, from the viewpoint of religious text, can we actually comprehend what heaven really is or could be? If a person lives in filth all his life, when you are dirty from the time you are born to the day that you die, and you live with rats and roaches and dishes in the sink and the toilet not being clean. The toilet's supposed to be white, but it's brown, and this is the type of environment that you're used to. If you come from that type of background and somebody tells you about cleanliness, about being kosher, if you come from that background, even though you heard of being clean, can you actually imagine, can you comprehend what being clean actually is? Because in some cases, those who live in a filthy manner, they believe that they are clean. There are many people, I know you've gone to their houses and the house is filthy, but in the minds of those who are the occupants, they've done a good job. They are clean. Clean to whose satisfaction? Clean to what criteria? So you can actually live in hell and believe that you are in heaven. Is the same. If we are using that, we're using the analogy that heaven and hell is just a condition of life. And surely there's no one here who can argue with me or debate and prove to me that the current state of humanity as we exist and how we live right now, this is a state of heaven. So if we are in a state of hell, then even though the idle rich live a life of leisure, even though the idle rich don't have to worry about their bills and all this, they still live in hell. They have made life more comfortable, but they are still living in hell because they are still and can be the victims of that which hell produced. The idle rich, although their life might be heavenly, but they can still become victims of murder and rape and alcoholism, gender confusion, all the things, excuse me, all the things that make this a living hell. If this was heaven, then there would be no need for religion to tell us about heaven. If this was heaven, or if heaven existed in some kind of form right now as we live, there would be no need for the Quran to tell us about the hereafter, or the Bible to tell us about a heaven. But again, can we actually comprehend it if we saw it? How is heaven to be created? Well, it's already created after you die, according to religious texts. But if it's a condition of life, and you want to bring life, or you want to bring heaven to the earth, what is the process when all over the earth and all that we know of is hell? Well, in religious texts, it tells us the beginning of that process, or a part of the process, is first, you have to make all things new. Not us, but the God makes all things new. And the former things must pass away. And see, this is, in other words, God comes to clean the house. When you are cleaning your house, when you are making it clean, you throw out the trash and the things that you don't use. You clean your house. You clean your house up. And the things that you are not using, you allow them to pass away because they become part of the filth. The former things must pass away. However, see, in our situation, we like to hold on to things that we need to pass away. I want to hold on to that old shoe. I want to hold on to that old such and such. I want to hold on to that old piece of pie behind the couch. Whatever it is, we want to hold on to certain things. And actually, we've grown to love filth. We love sport and play. We like liquor. We like the weed. We like the strip club. We like prostitution. We might not like all of it, but there's some aspect. So in religious texts, you have a story of Lot and his wife. When the God gave Lot instructions and told him and his family to leave Sodom and Gomorrah, and made it perfectly clear that when you leave, do not look at the city that I have condemned. But as the family began to leave Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife, for some reason, there was something in there. Even though God hated Sodom and God hated Gomorrah, and they were condemned to be destroyed, Lot's wife had to take a look, and that's your problem. There's something about this life. There's something about hell that y'all like. You like the vulgarity. You like cussing. You like being nasty. You like to slander people. You like to gossip. You like to commit fornication. You like to commit adultery. You like to steal. You love materialism. You want gold rings and diamonds and furs, and you want to look sharp. There's something about this world that you love. Those who believe in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself said that the Islam that you have will not enter the hereafter. So here you are, and you study the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, study the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. But Elijah Muhammad is telling you that there will be a new Islam. And the Islam that you're talking about, that you know, that you're practicing now and know of, it cannot enter the hereafter. It cannot enter the heaven, because in Christian text, the God says the former things must pass away. I don't care what you feel about them. They must pass away. They must pass away in order for a new world to exist. The new world cannot exist, cannot come into birth until the passing, the end, the destruction of an old world. And the reason why the new world can't come into being is because y'all have a love for this world. You won't allow it to pass away, because we hold on to all these different thoughts and ideologies, and well, if we don't hold on to them, you will be given something brand new. Brand new don't necessarily mean brand new, because you can have a car brand new, but the car is made out of recycled materials. But the car is brand new. Religious text gives us an insight into the process of how heaven will come into existence. It says that heaven is in you. But the heaven you cannot even begin the process, because your thinking is not new. Your thinking is filthy. Your mind is clogged up. You're not thinking properly, because it's is filled with that from something that needs to be left behind. When you come to this platform, when you come to this rostrum, I am bringing you and giving you an idea of the process we need in order to bring heaven into existence. We, I said we. I cannot do it by myself. I am in heaven right now, mentally. But it cannot be fulfilled because it's going to take brains. It's going to take minds, just like it took minds, plural. It took brains to develop the wickedness and the evil and the filth, the vulgarity, the profanity, the mayhem, the violence, the chaos, the hell of this world. It took the mind of a hellraiser created this. So the beginning of the process to bring heaven into existence is that the mind has to change. You have to clean. Your brain has to be washed of the filth of this world. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be clean enough to begin the process. The problem is you can't even wash yourself. You can't even get clean enough in order to begin the process because you are in love and you're comfortable in filth. And since you cannot comprehend heaven, you don't really feel that desire to want to change. I'm doing fine in the hog trough. I am fine eating slop. I heard a brother say, no more poor righteous teachers. You got to pay me for my teaching. What are you giving the people? You're not giving them an insight into heaven, because if you did, then you would not be talking about you want to get paid. Because our teacher wants what is good for the student, and many teachers take pay cuts. They want what is good and in the best interest of their students. There are many teachers who spend a certain amount of their own money for their students. Here you are supposed to be a teacher, and you want to get paid because you have a connection to the filth, the vulgarity, the materialism of hell. You sold your soul to a devil for a few pieces of silver, and your students pay the price. Matter of fact, pay me, because there's something here that you want. Heaven, or the process of heaven, begins with the liberation of the mind. 1000% liberation of the mind. You have to begin to think differently. I would like to speak on a comment that was given to me or directed at me, saying basically, who the hell you think you are? You think you are some kind of prophet? You think that who gives you the right or the power? You gonna start something brand new for black folks, and who the hell you think you are? Well, we want to talk about that for a few minutes. I wonder sometimes, and I would like to begin our conversation from a religious point of view, because I hear what you're saying, but don't know if you really believe what you claim you believe. I really wonder if y'all truly believe in God. I really wonder that, because you don't really act like it. You really don't seem to have the confidence in God that you claim you have. In the scriptures, in both Bible and Quran, you see that the God, Allah, Yahweh, whatever name that you have chosen to believe in, but within these teachings, the God has a love for you and a concern and a care. In Christian teachings, God loved so the world that he would send to you and make a sacrifice, his only begotten son. The God loves you so much, he sends you prophets and messengers and warners so that you can better yourself, so that you don't continue to go and travel within darkness. And when we look at the scriptures, the God starts sending messengers and prophets to the people, and it does not stop. Even to the point in modern day times, we have Messenger Elijah Muhammad, which appeared in the early 1930s. Some say that he is self-proclaimed or whatever, but he's the messenger of God. This is the 1930s. So God has consistently sending prophets and messengers to the people. Now, Messenger Elijah Muhammad says that he is the last messenger. However, this does not stop the God from sending prophets and warners, or even just good-hearted people that he has chosen to do his will, whether they know it or not. Now, see, also, we must consider that whenever God sends a messenger, a prophet, and a warner, they are not embraced by the people. They are not embraced by the government. They become an enemy to the government. They become an enemy to the religious factions that already exist. They are rejected by the people because the prophets and the messenger are bringing information and a message never heard before that is contrary to the way of life, the mindset, and the thinking that the people are used to hearing. So Messenger Elijah Muhammad was rejected. Jesus was rejected. Jesus was rejected to the point that he found himself nailed to a piece of wood, crucified. There was nothing beautiful and fantastic about the life of a warner, a prophet, or messenger. Many of them wound up or ended up murdered by the people or the governments that they were sent to warn or bring a message to by the God. This is normal behavior. However, the message, the warning that is coming from the God or coming from these messengers and teachers, they are not coming to hurt the government, bring you warning to change your ways. They're not coming to hurt you. They are coming to give you a message because you are on a path of destruction. And there is mercy from this God. There is mercy and compassion to the point, instead of just allowing you give you an opportunity to save your life. I will say that again, give you an opportunity to save your life. Because if you continue on the path that you're used to, accustomed to, the God sees way down the road. And your road leads to you falling off the road, down a cliff. And in nature, you see this over and over again. That's why some creatures you don't know nothing about, because they could not adapt to the environment. There was something they were doing wrong or could not do, and now they are extinct. I wonder if y'all believe in God. But just in nature itself, the brain, your DNA is set up in a manner that it strives to evolve and develop manners so that it can sustain itself and survive. You may see this in a troop of monkeys. I was watching a nature program, and monkeys do what monkeys do. And these monkeys were eating ants. And they would take the ants and one by one, they eat the ants. Then one day you saw, out of all these hundreds of monkeys, this one particular monkey took a stick and put the stick down in the hole of the ants. And the ants start attacking the stick and sticking to the stick. The monkey pulled the stick out of the hole. Instead of one ant, he had a whole gang of ants. And he ate the ants off the stick. While the traditional way, one by one, you mess around, try to eat the ants. This monkey would be an example of a messenger or a prophet sent to the people by God to show the people how to live a better life. Instead of eating one little ant at a time consuming or whatever, look what you can do. Take the little stick, put it down in the dirt, the ants attack it, bring it out, you have a lot of ants to eat. The purpose of God, the purpose to evolve, is to make you a better survivor. It is not to hurt you. So that monkey made life better for his troop. And then they saw what this monkey was doing, and they began to copy, and now they can fill their bellies with the ants faster and get more in a less period of time. We fear new things. We fear a new way of life. We fear things we don't understand. There were people who did not like the car. There were people who did not like electricity. There were people, because these was things they were not used to. What's up with all this? Why I gotta do that? Now, excuse me, my telephone is ringing, it's throwing me off. But I want to say this to us. Still coming from a religious point of view. In the Quran and the Muslims, you are taught that the God, that Allah, and see, this is what you really have a problem with. It says in the Quran, or you are taught, I do believe it does come from the Quran, that Allah chooses whom He pleases. You think that everybody that God sends to us is supposed to be a Muslim. Where does it say that in the Quran? Where does it say that the God sends messengers and the prophets and all of them would be Muslims? Where does it say that in the Quran? does not say that. It says clearly, Allah chooses whom he pleases. So why wouldn't God choose a person that y'all would call an atheist? And why would God want to choose an atheist anyway? Why would God want to choose somebody outside of being a Muslim? One reason is because you've been given the Bible. You've been given the Quran. You've been given these books. And you have failed God. You have not produced the heaven on earth that these books are supposed to bring. You have failed to change. In fact, you become like the people that you are supposed to change. You blend in with the wicked. There is no difference between you and those of whom you're supposed to change. And you really don't understand your teachings. You read the Quran and the Bible and you study, but you really don't understand what is being said. Your thinking is outdated. So somebody tells me, who you think you are? From a religious point of view, I am a prophet. In fact, many believers in God have called me a prophet. They have called me a messenger. I don't call myself that, but they recognize that a message is being brought to a people that is necessary because you are on the right path. And you even pray to Allah. You say, Allah, guide us on the right path. But then when your God tries to show you you are on the wrong path, then you reject it because the vessel that God has chosen to send to tell you about it, you don't like. You don't understand. But that's a personal problem, because if you claim that you know God, then you should know whether, no matter what that vessel is, you should recognize when God is sending you a message, when God is trying to do something for you. Because in religious teachings, it also says that God works through people. God works through whom he wants to work with. Y'all don't believe that. Especially when you believe that it should be you. It should not be you. It should be me. Why I can't be the messenger of God? Why I can't? Because it's not you. The monkey with the stick, that's what he done. It was not meant for the rest. The gift was given to him, and he shared that gift. So as the messengers and the prophets, the gift, the message was given to them by God, and they shared it with you. Not looking for praise. Jesus never looked for praise and celebrity. None of these prophets, you didn't hear them, it's all about me, I'm looking for. I believe Moses, was it Moses? Was it Moses? He got to the point where he began to believe it was all about him, and God had to check him real quick, and then he learned and kept doing what he was supposed to do. But it's not about, you're just a messenger. It just so happened that the gift came through this person. Just like whoever developed Microsoft, just like whoever developed whatever that we use every day. A vessel was used to bring forth information, and we share it with the world. It's not about celebrity and praising somebody and all this other madness. That's your sick mentality. I did not wake up yesterday, like many of you make YouTube videos. I did not wake up yesterday and talk about, I'm going to make a YouTube video. What you hear coming from this ministry took 40 years to develop. And then the frosting on the cake was self-thinking, liberating the mind of all these other things that clog your brain's ability to think properly. Your mind is not thinking properly. That's why many of you can't comprehend and understand what I'm saying, because you're not able to think properly. But even so, just like the prophets, you either reject or you accept. It makes no difference. The mission of the prophet or the messenger is just to give you a message. That's all. No more, no less. You will suffer the consequences of your actions, as the monkeys would be living worse and not the better that they are experiencing, because they followed the lead of one that had vision, one that had creativity, one that was able to solve a problem they was having. So the gift that was supposed to go to you can easily go to someone else. I received many letters, emails rather, from people all over the world who understand exactly where I'm coming from. But the people that the message was supposed to be or is supposed to be for, they reject because it's supposed to be me. And you don't understand what you're talking about. But others recognize. So the woman that you had a problem with, another man, she makes him an excellent wife. Could have made you an excellent wife. Excellent wife. But you didn't know what to do with her. You didn't understand her. So it's the same thing here. The Realist Temple is the beginning process of not waiting to die, but actually bringing into reality heaven on earth.